Hello everyone, how you doing today? Thought I'd get a update video out and show you what I've been working on the last few days. Um, to start with, we have this now fully textured Kriel Beholder. Um, and I'm just getting it in a little bit of mood lighting here with some Creole stuff going on. So that's basically how this came out, at least the first revision. Um, So it's all skinned up and everything now, finally. So I'm pretty happy about that, and just trying to get the right lighting and things like that to see what this kind of can look like. Obviously, it was meant to be scary, so I think it's coming that way. Now there are some things that I was looking at when I was skinning this, and like little mod ideas I was having. One of my biggest issues, I think, with this is the cockpit up here. To me, kind of looked a little, I don't know, a little humanish, or Martian. It didn't necessarily look super alien-like. And then I was looking at some other little aspects too, like, yeah, maybe there should be some little flares over here by the arms, and I don't know, this area over here is a little plain, and this area back here is kind of flat. There's not much going on there, and I don't know, maybe there could be a little more detail here. So basically, I was just, had all these little thoughts, when I was kind of running through, kind of skinning it, looking at different things like that. So what I did is I took it a step further, and let me get this one here. I'm going to get some better lighting now, but this is the revision, and this one had a lot of different things done to it from the other version. I redid the front cockpit area, made it a little more Creole-like with the curvy glass and things like that. I think in the process too, I like the cockpit view much better from inside the ship as well. You got kind of some funky looking glass lines and things like that, and thought that felt appropriate. I also added some fangs here and a couple rocket launchers. I had the CPU available. Obviously, this is going to be a tier 4. There's just no point on going lower with that. Nothing really works. Basically, tier 3 still seems like a starter ship to me, and anything above tier 3 is, well, pretty much do anything you want. And that's the case of this. I had a little more deco stuff over here and some new thingies over here. I'm not sure what this is, but hey, it's Creole. You're not supposed to ask, and we're not supposed to understand. So that's basically it. Some little flares over here. I briefly started in on the interior on this as well. Just got a couple rooms going right now. Basically the entry area. Of course, this is all tuned for nighttime again. Typical Creole setup. So when you first walk in, I kind of want it to have that dark, eerie look, but I want you to be able to see where you're going. I don't want it that dark. Here it's a bit too dark, I think, yet. So I'll have to tweak that stuff out. This is the siege cockpit. Basically, when you're flying the ship, better get some lights going again. You can see the outer edges of the front arms, and basically you just kind of park this above a POI, or basically on the ground surrounding the POI, and you can judge that from this view here pretty easily. And then the rest of the craft does what it needs to do with the 12 turrets that are aimed at the POI all around the lower body of the ship. Should hopefully take out all the POI defenses, and then you can invade from there. Now I'm thinking about a couple other things too that this might get as in add-on vessels to it. Two things come to mind. One would be siege tanks that actually can mount to this area over here, facing inward. Therefore you could start engaging the POI also with some tanks. And then I also thought about adding in one or two like small little SV pods here for something like a breacher, which is a very old creation I made that was a tiny, tiny little SV that was made to be so small that it could fit inside the hallways inside of POIs. So you can shoot the bad guys and with an SV, so you can take, you know, a lot more hits and more damage and produce a lot more damage to the bad guys as well. So that is some thoughts I've got on this. Again, this is a little bit longer term project again, but happy that it's coming along pretty good. I think I'm pretty content with how the body looks at this point in time too, after the second round of tweaks and things like that. On other progress, here I'm going to really clear the weather now. So we're back to sunny times. Space carrier has been fully textured as well on the exterior. So this whole back part is getting set up, and it's going to get another round of details similar to what I do with the most of the ships. I'll get like the base part done, and then I'll start analyzing things and try to figure out places where I could try to enhance the looks one way or another. Block changes, textures, decals, lighting, you name it, whatever options are out there. Now I did say on the last video too that I wanted to do like an interior part of this ship, and quite frankly I've tried twice now, and I actually recorded it, but I got some issues with this ship. I really do, and I got to work them out. This was my first attempt at doing an interior. Of course, you got your hangar space. I got some storage in here. I wanted to build the interior asymmetrically for good reason. One, I needed more space, and if I set up like a hallway going down the side, I form bigger rooms off to the other side rather than splitting the rooms up into two small areas. So that was my concept in principle here. And I managed to sneak in a little farm, like not much of a farm. I'm only shooting for 18 grow plots on this ship. And I found a place for the shield, and don't mind all the other unfinished stuff in here. But for the life of me, I could not find a home for the warp core. Just there's no space. It would not fit anywhere. So I'm like, and if I tucked it out of the way or under the stairs or something, then it would fry you with heat and radiation. So lots of problems with that. So I decided to start again. And this is the second attempt. Now, what I've done though is on this one I chopped the ship in half, and I've widened, or I didn't widen it, but I made it a little longer, and I changed this front profile a little bit so I could try to get some more interior space. But I'm also kind of like looking at my body lines too, and it's got a little problem that the original Persis carrier has now. And I don't know if you can see what that is, and maybe it's not all that bad, but essentially when I changed the front area around, I changed this angle to a 22.5, but the back area is at a 45. And to me that looks off. Like now the back area also needs to match the front angle. But then I feel like I'm losing cohesion on the ship too. It's like the parts to me don't look separated enough to be convincing. It has more of a blobby style, I guess you can say, to it right now. So I'm not thrilled about that, and I think I need to do some more body work and try to dial this in. But on attempt 2 on the interior, I kind of went with the same idea back here. I got the storage in the side and constructor, and the storage I'm going for on this ship is 200K storage. So it'll have more than the Wayfarer, but it also has more lift thrust than the Wayfarer. Again with the asymmetrical idea, but this time I stuck the farm up on a row above. Again, 18 grow plots. I managed to get the shield over on this side along with the Pentaxa tank right next to it. Or I'm sorry, warp core, not shield. Pentaxa tank right next to it, and the shield's home should be over here. And that was kind of my goal. I wanted the storage, as much hangar space as I could get. and a 18 grow plot farm and room for the big parts. And that's about all I was looking to do. Now this one might be able to achieve that, but I need to straighten out the body some and figure out where I'm going with this. Now it doesn't have the shield installed right now, and it's only given me like 20,000 CPU remaining before I hit the 500,000 cap at tier 2. I don't have the tier 2 block in here right now though. I might be able to pull that off because it has all its main components in there already, and it doesn't need much for a generator, like one generator, and I think I've only got 4 fuel tanks installed right now, which is a little light. I'd like to put in more, but again, CPU caps. As in reducing the storage, it doesn't gain me much CPU. It's not really a big valid thing. So I'm not that worried about the storage. It basically comes down to the thrusters and things like that. Now, one other issue I kind of have with the ship too is that it's agile when in flight, but it feels, hold on here a minute. Oh, no CPU block in this version. Well, to put it in one way, it feels, I don't know, jerky, I guess. It's just like when I'm going to turn or stuff like that, it just kind of seems like it wants to pull hard real quick, and where you're trying to like line up and whatnot, it just doesn't have a smooth feel to it, at least unloaded right now. And I don't know. I might need to do something about that too. I'm just not exactly sure what. Again, with thrusters, I'm trying to keep them at the outer ends of the ship for maximum effect on turning and things like that, or try to at least. Like all these over here, that's why they're way up here. Of course, if I wasn't dealing with the flight model, I would have put the thrusters somewhere else and try to make it look better. But the flight model kind of, if you're really trying to not run RCS, which I really cannot do at all on any lower tier stuff, and even, I don't want to use them at all, is you got to position your thrusters in places that work. And the places that work the best are going to be the outer corners of your ship. So I don't know exactly how I feel like that about that. I like some of the aspects of it because you can kind of create some unique setups, such as like the MCRN Sparrow, where I only ran 4 rear thrusters and 1 front thruster, and no side thrusters or up or down or any of that. So it gives you flexibility in doing different types of things like that. But I tell you what I'm really kind of getting tired of, and if you notice, and I'll show you as an example, even on the recent MX5 refit as well. But let me load in some MCRN SVs here a minute, and I'll show you. Okay, let's take the skiv. So this one, another example of the thrusters. Basically, I'm ending up with a lot of like boxes or rectangles, trying to get the thrusters out in these outer edges mostly. Like in this one, I got a couple that are kind of in the middle, but the ones that really count are the ones back here, the ones up here, and of course the stuff on the very ends of the ship. Same thing applied to the Talon. And again, another kind of boxy design, trying to get the thrusters all the way out on the outer edges of the ship. And yeah, sure, you could come up with a lot of different stuff like this, but ultimately, I'm ending up with boxes like almost every ship to try to pull this off. This one, again, same idea. And that's cool for some designs. But I really, I kind of I don't want to be stuck just building boxy ships. But they work the best for flying. So I'm a little bit troubled with that. And this one, I was trying to break my normal convention on how I've been building starter CVs And if you follow those back from, I don't, probably not many of you know of the Nebula, which was like one of my first release ship ever. But the Nebula going into the first Carapace C2, which was a little bit different, I'll admit. And then back, then the Nomads, the Wayfarer, the Cosmos, they all had the same general setup and design with them, and they're all kind of boxy ships. They really are. So that kind of works for them trying to maximize interior space on, you know, starter type ships. But I'm really tired of building that particular style and having every ship kind of coming out the same. That's why I'm trying something new with this one, but then I ran into all kinds of interior spacing problems, like, oh, how am I going to fit this now? How am I going to fit that? And so on and so forth. So I'm kind of like, I'm complaining that I'm having trouble getting the same functionality in this ship as other designs like the Wayfarer. But yet I made this ship not as wide, more or less, and more shapely, I guess, or trying to at least. But it's taken its toll too, because I'm now not getting the space I want in the ship to properly put in all the parts I want, or necessarily even have quite the hangar space I would like. With any ship that I build, CV wise, I run a standard of a minimum of a 9x5 hangar door, which will fit the vast majority of HVs and SVs I've made to date. If I go smaller than that, it's going to severely cut or limit the amount of things that could be parked inside the hangar. Having this size, it would basically go up to, I believe, the Demos in relative size, or in this case, the Ballista with the MCRN. And that's kind of, you know, so you can have one of these, but you can get some pretty big stuff. Now the biggest stuff, like the Basilisk or the Gigantes or the big MXs, like the MX 12, 14, and 18, require a 13x7 hangar door. So they're just a bigger class up. So basically, I'm trying to work this out and trying to make this ship nice, where I'm feeling good about it, and I don't have that feeling yet. I think I need to do some things to make the body more cohesive, and one of those aspects is it's kind of like everything's kind of like feels like it's thrown together now, where there's not really, I don't know, a good cohesion on why there's like, why this sticks out over here and why this sticks out over here. It's just kind of there. And I like to have that definition at this point in time, at least. Now, early stuff I didn't really, but now I kind of like to have, you know, like maybe do some more separation here to make this look like this chunk here is its own piece. And I try to do that a little bit, but I don't know if I'm thrilled with some of the angles I've got there, and then have that tie into like the back piece that's also sticking out a little bit, so they kind of mesh and fit together. And I'm not real thrilled on what I've got going on here with this thruster thing either. So basically, I think I want to tool around with this ship quite a bit more and try to first get the body right, and then try to get the interior right. And once all that stuff fits together, then I think I can finally be happy with it. So more revisions are coming for this one. So it's kind of where I'm at, and I would like to show you all that. The problem is these things stretch on so long. Like the last video I did make of the first attempt, well, first I failed, and second, the video was an hour and 20 minutes long. So that's kind of problematic. That's why I didn't put it out yesterday. So I made another attempt, and this is attempt 2. I think I could work with this one, but I gotta fix it up. I gotta do some things with it. But that is about all I've got for today. Pretty excited about the Creole tripod and the space carrier, or I tend to call it super carrier a lot too, because it's kind of designed to be the same, relative same length as a USS Nimitz class super carrier, or US based. So that's where that stands. More interior to go, but stuff's getting done, and it's still a ways away from release. Once I get like the remaining, I believe, 15 rooms kind of set up inside the ship. Some are small, some are bigger. Um, then there's going to be a lot of work with a LCD directory system, a lot of tweaking, optimizations, um, detailing, things like that that I'm going to have to do on the ship as well. In some cases, I'll probably have to reduce some lights and try to make existing lights more powerful. Stuff like that, just because it's got to have performance as well and things like that. And this is undoubtedly going to be probably about somewhere size class 50 range of ship. Probably not high 50s, but probably somewhere around mid 50. So it's definitely it's a big size class ship. Um, as in like the other stuff too. Now I don't have lighting really in most of the hangar and stuff, but I did finish all this area up inside of here and some ceilings, but I'm going to tweak it more. Obviously, you can see some copy paste action going on in places. I'll try to tweak that out more before release. And I started getting like this front area together here too. I also see I don't have any power in the ship at all right now. It does look a little better with some lights. Finished up a couple more rooms back here. I'm still working on some other areas, and I think I might have showed this last time too. Some of these hallways that are really plain right now, but it'll get there. Just happy the all the skinning of all this stuff is done, and I was really dreading it because I'm at this point in time so tired of like doing mass skinning. I had to do it both on this Creole and on this, and it's kind of takes a life out of you after after a while. It's just like, oh God, more. I just spent like an hour doing this one chunk, and now I've got like 30 more chunks like that to do. But I'm really happy that it's like skinned now, both of these actually. So that's kind of a little weight off my shoulders, so I can kind of do some other things that are a little more fun at this point in time. But anyway, that's all I have for today. Just wanted to show you all this stuff to see what you think. One side note too, I've been working on a song for a Creole video, something very unique and different, and I hope if I get time when I like release this, and I don't know when that's happening yet, or well, I'll say the version that's tweaked out more over here. Might try to put together a video with the music, and the video would be kind of about the wake up of the Creole and the frenzy they go into and the invasion that proceeds. So that is kind of what the video more or less would be about. Would also try to show a bit of the humans trying to bring up a defense against the Creole. And since, well, I've got the MCRN, might put them in there too, where they actually get along, because now they're facing an external threat. So it might actually, there's complete fiction, but they might actually band together to try to deter the Creole. So that's the idea of it. I hope I can pull it off, though. Yeah, I mean, big ideas, it's easy to come up with ideas, but to execute them is a whole other can of worms. So we'll see how it goes. But anyway, y'all have a good day. See you later.